We use the word maybe peck. You know, it's a girl, you treat her like a sister, and it's a girl to girl. You can peck her hand, you can, like, there are some traditions that actually kiss the hand as they are greeting. I think that is okay, there should be no problem. Kiss would be translated differently. If you're kissing somebody with the cheek, it's something different, but ideally just a peck, and is a girl to girl, is a friend, in madrasa, in school, then I don't see anything wrong. Preferred age for circumcision for males, the earlier the better. You know, it should be done before puberty. The Arabs and some cultures do it as early as the child is born, and the doctors can give an okay, and there's no harm. The earlier it is done, the better. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa, amma ba'd.
My husband uses me just for intimacy.
Now, if your husband just uses you for intimacy, then I think this is something that you can sit down and discuss, and you know, tell him, and he has to involve you in so many other things that pertains to marriage. Now, one thing we need to understand is that intimacy is just one segment of marriage. There are many other things. You come two partners in for life, and children will come, there'll be work, there'll be this. What I recommend, or what I advise you to do, is have open up venues of communication, talk to him, let him involve you in even his businesses or your work or your businesses, and let him understand that you're not a sex tool. So I think it is something that needs to be discussed between the two of you. If it doesn't work, then I would recommend both of you see a marriage Muslim counselor, and Allah knows best.
Can a disabled lead people in prayer?
Well, it depends on the magnitude of the disability. We could be having somebody who's not that disabled and can lead the prayers, but other qualities of the imam have been fulfilled. You see, what you need to understand is that for somebody to lead prayers, especially a man, even a woman, I think, there has to be certain qualities that must be fulfilled. So has this person fulfilled all the qualities? Maybe he's able to do the ruku, he can lead, but there's also a kind of disability, but maybe it is too much. You could have somebody who maybe the only thing that rolls is the head. Then that can be a bit tricky. Then it's better to get somebody who ideally can. So depending on the level.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is the 3rd of January 2020. Talking about the Gregorian calendar. My name is Faisal Kassim, and welcome to the live Real Talk. Being the beginning of the year, tonight we decided to do a compilation of some of the episodes that we did last year since we started. Remember, we started the first week of Ramadan, and this is just the second episode that we had. We are talking about the Muslim leadership, and in studio we had currently SUPKEM's chair, that is Sheikh Hassan Olenado. By then he was still the deputy chairperson at the SUPKEM. We had the chairman of National Muslim Leaders Forum, Sheikh Abdullah Abdi, and we had the deputy secretary general of Jamia Mosque, that is Ibrahim Ahmed, popularly known as Johnny. Let's watch how it was. starting with Hassan Olenado. Sheikh, you said SUPKEM is corporate based. You're taking in organizations and mosques, organizations. But how does that Mama Mariam, who is selling boga at the Kibanda or selling viazi by the roadside, then how does she feel included in the national Muslim leadership structure?
Actually, they are included because every Muslim in this country is a member of a certain mosque.
But some mosques are exclusive. I mean, not everyone is.
Let me finish. Where our mandate is drawn.
Yes.
Every member of this community is a member of either a local mosque, a madrasa, or a community-based organization in the locality.
Okay.
These organizations are the ones who become members of the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims. Not all of them, because some of them may choose not to be members. I'm talking of those who are willing to be members of the Supreme Council, because we have no mechanism of forcing any institution to become a member. As long as they meet the criteria, all of them 100% are Muslims, and they do the application at the local level, then they are admitted, they become the members of the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims.
So they are the ones who are supposed to elect the delegates to elect you as their leaders.
Exactly. They elect the delegates first at the local level, at the constituency level, where they have a constituency council. Then from the constituency, they go to the county, from the county to the region, and then to the national. Yeah.
Thanks so much. And that's why we are stopping right there, because we're having a call right now. Horizon TV, hello. Horizon TV, hello.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Hello.
Hello, Horizon TV, hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's your good name and where are you calling us from? Sorry?
Anwar Sharif from Moyale.
Yes.
Hello. Mimi ningependa kuchangia hii masuala ya mambo ya kuhusiana na Uislamu.
Naam. Unfortunately, we lost him. So there have been a lot of concerns for Namlev, because they say Namlev just go under the waters, but again when it's time for political season, election, constitution, referendum, is when you'll start seeing press conferences from Namlev. Of course, you've told us that your mandate is majorly political, economic and social.
First of all, it's not quite correct to say that we go quiet for a long time.
Yes.
The question is that Muslims measure people on the number of times you appear on the TV or on the radio. That does not necessarily mean that there's no activity that's going on.
Maybe the effect is not being felt.
But I can tell you one thing, the latest one, which is most probably the best one that most people might not be aware of.
Yes.
Over the last 6 months to 8 months, we have been working on a draft constitutional review document.
Okay.
As you know, the whole country right now is talking about referendum and so on.
Okay.
Muslims cannot be left out of that.
Okay.
Because we have got stakes in this thing, we cannot let other people to come about with changes. Namlef has been working on it. And they have been working with partners like SUPKEM and like Jamia.
Yes.
But this is being done quietly. We even put up together a team which we call the Muslim Technical Team, a professional team of consultants.
Okay.
14 of them who worked on the document. This document will be presented to Muslim leadership next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday.
It's only going to be presented?
Here at Jamia. And that's going to be the final document. And I'm giving you this as just one simple example of what goes on. So we're not underwater, we are
behind
above water
the
all the time.
Thank you so much. We can just hold on there. Horizon TV, hello. Horizon TV, hello.
Yeah, yes.
Hello, Horizon.
Yes, my name is Adan Ibrahim.
Yes, Mr. Adan Ibrahim. Where are you calling us from, sir?
I'm calling you from Mandera County.
Naam, brother. Karibu kwenye kipindi. Tell us.
I want to ask you a question. Today I'm very happy first to see the Muslim leaders to discuss about the Muslim community in this country.
Yes.
Especially I want to ask you, Sheikh Abdullah,
Naam.
one question.
Yes.
Today we are discussing about the unity of Muslim community in this country, but 2017 Sheikh Abdullah is divided the Muslim community in Mandera County. If he's truly talking about the Muslim community and is the leadership of this Muslim community,
yes,
why is dividing the community in northern Kenya? Answer to that question.
Why is ignoring the Muslim community in...
Yeah, he's ignoring his home county and now blaming that he's a Muslim leader.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adam from Mandera County, with your question directed to Sheikh Abdullah Abdi, and definitely he's going to answer that. Thank you so much, brother. Remember, you can also be part of this conversation. 0711-707-707 is our calling live. 21951 is our SMS line, and Horizon TV Kenya on all social media platforms. Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Drop in a comment and let's talk about that. Sheikh Abdullah Abdi, you're ignoring your own county and you're calling yourself a national leader.
I think there are two issues you raised. We cannot ignore the first one. We say that he divided the people of Mandera.
You divided the people of Mandera.
I thought he said that.
Yes, he said that. Yes.
And then the second one, he said that you also abandoned the people of Mandera. But
yes.
But the two are contradictory. I cannot be dividing people when I am away.
Of which is bringing in the national, the general theme of unity in the Muslim community.
I understand what my brother talks about.
Yes.
And I don't shy away from giving back the answer that I think is relevant. First of all, the issue of the division of Mandera is talking about the political division which took place in Mandera.
Exactly.
As a Muslim leader, I took a decision. And my decision might not be one that's going to be accepted by all the people of Mandera. People who are divided on the basis of tribes.
Which brings in the question, sir.
Yes.
Where and how do you do your consultation with the Muslim community before you take a stand on constitution or on endorsement?
Several things. You cannot mix several things together. There is Abdullah Abdi, the person, a citizen of Kenya.
Correct. Yes.
And there's Abdullah Abdi, chairman of National Muslim Leaders Forum.
But which one takes precedence?
Now, let me finish. You see, when I go to Mandera,
yes,
I am a citizen of Mandera.
Yes.
I am a member of the community of Mandera.
Yes.
I am also a local leader at Mandera level.
Okay.
There was a situation whereby people were divided on the basis of clans.
Yes.
And there was something called the Council of Elders of the different clans who are splitting people on the basis of those tribes.
Yes.
I went in and I said, we are going to vote as Muslims, irrespective
yes,
of tribes.
Yes.
So that made a lot of people unhappy. My position is still the same.
Yes.
I went there and I brought in a coalition of all the different clans in Mandera. So that is where I am seen as dividing the people of Muslims,
because
of the people of Mandera.
You unified.
I attempted to unify them.
Yes.
So the people who are against that particular position, so that I messed up their plans.
Again.
So
yes,
as a person,
yes,
I still stand by the decision.
Yes.
If it happened in Lamu,
yes,
or it happened in Kwale,
yes,
I will try to attempt to do the same thing.
Thank you.
No, but I also want to add on to that.
Yes.
You see, as a citizen of this country,
yes,
and politics comes in, somebody is supposed to make a decision as a person. You see, Hassan Olenado will go to Narok.
Yes.
He comes from Transmara.
Yes.
And their senators and their governors. Then he'll decide who he is going to vote for. And that is the decision that Abdullah Abdi took in Mandera. Okay?
And you support him in that?
And you see, look, like, I'll give you an example of Jamia.
If you allow me.
We've decided, yes, I'll allow you. We've decided
yes,
that we'll never intervene in anything politics,
yes,
in this country. Like, we'll not have somebody coming from Jubilee or NASA to come and propagate. We will not allow that. Because we want the people to make their own personal decisions.
It's a democratic right.
Yes, as to who they are going to support.
Okay.
And that one applies even to the Muslim leadership.
Thank you.
Because they have to vote.
Yes.
And you have to vote for one person against another person. That is not dividing.
Fair enough. Horizon TV live real talk on YouTube, and you're gonna check it out. It was quite a hot discussion right here inside the studio. Few things that came. Of course, I did not get my answers as I wished. Maybe they answered, maybe I didn't understand because of their wisdom, but it's not what I expected. Yeah. One of the questions I asked is, where do they draw the line? They are leaders, at the same time they are citizens of this nation. So where do they draw the line between the two, so as to give endorsements, so as to pick a candidate over the other, particularly in the electioneering period? Because holding their positions, many people would want to hear what they say, and many people trust that they are sitting in those positions so that they could bargain for the larger community. So a lot of people, a lot of electorates would wait to hear their choices, and then they would follow. So, I mean, another question that I could not get a straight up answer. Another question that I didn't get a straight answer again, or rather I just understood and I respected the decision, was the fact that they took the decisions, and some of them came out clearly as you had the last bite. Ibrahim Ahmed, last journey from Jamia Mosque, saying that as Jamia Mosque, they've made a stand not to make any statement, any endorsement to any political candidate during the electioneering period. Anyway, that was it. Muslim leadership. It's still on YouTube. You can check it out, the whole episode. It was lit. Trust you me, it was lit. Those 3 men inside the studio, my goodness. You must watch it. Suleiman Nachos of Tumbo, what do you have next in line? Cancer awareness. This is one emotional episode that I did. It was quite emotional because it was the same week that we lost the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kibra. We lost Governor Jos Laboso. And the person in studio, Ms. Husna Hassan, maybe I never told you this. The person in studio who was in studio that time, Ms. Husna Hassan, Professor Hassan that she was talking about was my mom's classmate in madrasa. So they were quite close. I knew that man personally, and he touched a lot of lives, including mine. Hello, young man, being his favorite line anytime you encounter, anytime you meet. Hello, young man, how's it going? Salama, how's everything? That's how he used to speak. And again, a lot of heroes fell the same month. Let's watch it. Cancer awareness.
Mose, 5 years survivor. When were you diagnosed with cancer?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me. I was diagnosed with cancer 2014. I was still a high schooler, Roraka High School. My first experience with cancer, it wasn't easy. This was a new field for me. I never knew anything about cancer. So it just started like a normal pain at the knee. I told my parents, hey mom, I'm not feeling okay. Something might be wrong. And he told me, I know you, you're a footballer. Maybe you got an injury from the field. He brought some warm water and robe, massaged the leg. For a moment, I felt some relief, but it didn't work. So it continued for like that for 2 months, and then now the school was closed. Came January. When I was at the parade opening assembly, I fainted. My dad was called to school, and he was told, your son has just fainted. We don't know what's wrong with him. Just come. He came. Because he knew the situation, we went to Nema Hospital. Some x-rays were done, and then we were sent to Kiambu. At Kiambu, the doctor looked at the x-rays. The next thing, he wrote a referral letter to Kenyatta Hospital. So there is where my journey started. That was now January. We went to Kenyatta, started looking for a bed, and I was admitted mid-February. A biopsy test was done. That now was March, and then I was discharged for 1.5 months while waiting for the results. So when the results were out, I went back to the hospital, and then I was told, now you have bone cancer, and the only solution is surgery. That was very, very frustrating. I felt bad as a young man. Now, where is my life going? What next for me? Who will want to associate with me? But I decided life is important.
Did you know anything about cancer before?
I didn't know anything about cancer.
That was the first time you heard of it?
First time to hear the word cancer. So all I used to hear was, oh, Nani has cancer and he died. Nani has cancer, she died. Nani has cancer. So I was very terrified. I thought that was the next line for me, but I trusted God. I underwent through surgery and I came out of it alive. Now it's been 5 years. I thank God for everything.
My goodness.
Wow.
Interesting. Ms. Husna, you've gone through a rough time with your late husband. May Allah put his amazing soul in Jannah. How was it, your journey with him?
It was a rough journey in the beginning because it's some of these things you don't expect it to be so close at home, one. And two, you don't expect it to on somebody you care so dearly about, somebody who's been cautious about his lifestyle, somebody who's been eating well, somebody who's been doing exercise. He'll be like, everyone has to do exercise, you should have vegetables in the house, fruits and all that. And more so for somebody who's a doctor. And once it started, we didn't know what was the cause because it will always be stomachache, stomachache. After stomachache, it moved to backache. And because for me, I'll be like, hey, you're a doc, you should, seek treatment, just be checked, what is it? And after all the screenings, nothing showed up. And because I met him quite early, around 1997. So it continued till the point I'm like, being a doctor, why are you letting this happen? Why don't you go and to be checked to know exactly what is the problem? But the stomachache will come and subside. And once the pain comes, it's so sharp and it will subside. After some time we stayed because it'll just be going on off checkup on medication. At one point we thought it was ulcers, But in 2006 July, actually 2010 July, that's the time he informed me that, I went for another screening, I went for another biopsy, and they found something, because by then they never found it's cancer.
So it was just barely assumption?
Yes. So they just found something small like a button, being a layman, the way he was telling me, just something small, And because by then I had my second baby. So I was like, okay. And being anxious, I was like, all this time we've never known what it is. And being, a laparoscopic surgeon, I was like, this is something small. They just go in, remove this thing and come out,
If you can just allow me, I'm getting directions that, there you go. It was quite an emotional episode. I remember I was trying to watch this episode again last week, but again I could not finish watching it. It's quite emotional. Trust me, it's quite emotional. It was so emotional, so much so that if you watch it with keenness, you can notice Miss Husna Hassan's microphone was not so well. The voice was not coming out so well because the microphone was rubbing against her hijab. So it was bringing in some funny voice. The voice was distorted in a way. It was not coming out as clear. But, this episode was so emotional. I was so much engrossed into those stories that no matter the pressure I was getting from the gallery, I don't know, my ear was bursting that night. Like, Faisal, you need to cut that story. Cut it. You need to come and fix that mic. Cut it. I remember Mohammed 12, sorry. Professor, forgive me for going wrong on your name. But anyway, Professor, sound engineer, Mohammed 12, I remember him at the gallery shouting at me, Faisal, you need to stop. That sound is not coming out clearly. Faisal, stop it, cut her. Just go for a break, do something. But go for a break, we need to fix that mic. But I was super engrossed in that story. My emotions had all gone to a whole new level, and hence it took me a while until I stopped Miss Husna Hassan from giving us her story. Few things that came out from that episode. I myself, for one, had this strong belief that getting cancer, or rather being diagnosed with cancer, is more or less a death sentence. So there's no way out. That's what I used to think, until Dr. Sidna, of course, alhamdulillah, she she managed to change that perception. But still, it's quite sad. It's quite sad. And the government, of course, His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta, in his speech at former Governor Joyce Laboso, when he was addressing the congregation that had gathered there at the funeral, he spoke and gave quite a number of promises regarding the disease, regarding the government's action against the disease, but we are yet to see them being implemented. So this is just a wake-up call, guys. Cancer is real. This, I cannot call it an enemy per se, but it's just with us. We just need to be careful. And from most doctors that I've interacted with, they say that this is a lifestyle disease. And again, as Muslims, over and above being a lifestyle disease, you just know that it is a decree from the Almighty. When He has decreed that you're going to have it, then I don't think there's a way out. You're just going to have it. But nonetheless, we just need to take care of ourselves. One last thing, it was the parting shot of that young man in the studio. His name was Otieno. He said that because, if I can quote him word to word, he said, cancer conversation should be happening on a daily basis because there are people down there who are suffering from cancer. Not because we've lost prominent people and then it's packing up conversation, the whole nation, because the same month rather, we had lost 3 giants in the country, Bob Collymore, Ken Okoth, and Joyce Laboso. So there were serious conversations regarding cancer the whole month, you know, and even it forced us to have that conversation as well. But right now, the nation has gone silent on it. Cancer awareness has reduced greatly, you know. The activities, the sort of circumnavigating, the awareness and the medication has gone down, has dropped down greatly. So it's important to continue with these conversations, whether a prominent person dies, because either way, every single day, a Wanjiku dies and Amina dies down there. So you just need to be careful. Don't you go away. We're going to be back after this very short break and look at some more episodes that we did in 2019.
You're watching Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kama mama, ni wajibu wangu kuhakikisha kuwa familia yangu inapata lishe bora. Sote tunafahamu kuwa kiamsha kinywa ni muhimu sana katika mwili wa mwanadamu, hasa kikipatikana kwa wakati ufaao. Mafuta ni mengi sokoni, ila mafuta haya yamebadili mapishi yangu kwa hatua kubwa sana. Vile nyota inavyong'aa angani, mafuta ya kupikia ya Nyota yanakupa mandhari ya jikoni na kuongeza ladha kwenye vyakula, tofauti sana na ladha nyinginezo. Mafuta ya Nyota yamekuwa siri yangu ya mapishi kwa muda sasa. Sisumbuki tena kuamshana na watoto asubuhi. Nyota, live healthy.
Wanashitati nashta, watakaowafisha nyinyi ni malaika wa mauti. Ishara zetu zinazotuongoza, ndipo hata Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala katika Qur'ani, pokea ufahamu, asema na tahadhari, la yanju min waqtati al-qabri salihun wala talihun, yafuatie haokoki na kufinywa na kaburi yoyote. Jiunge na Sheikh Ali Bahero katika bishara zetu kila Jumanne saa 2 usiku kwenye Horizon TV.
Kiumbe dhaifu lakini jasiri.
alitunukiwa sura nzima,
sura inayompa daraja yake inavyostahiki. Sharti ajigambe.
Naam, na pepo ipo chini ya nyayo zake.
Mpamba nyumba na nyoyo za wapendwa wake.
anayebeba majukumu yake pasina kupinga.
Mtazamaji, je, unamfahamu anayezungumziwa?
Bila ya kusahau hadhi yake na haki zake.
Ungana nami Rahma Swaleh na Sheikh Juma Amir
tukuelimishe na kukupa mwelekeo katika maisha ya ndoa
kwenye kipindi Dira ya Mwanamke,
kila Jumapili saa 2:30 usiku majira ya Afrika Mashariki ndani ya Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Welcome back. Welcome to Love Real Talk. We are still looking at some of the notable, or rather episodes that have some distinction in them, some amazing discussion. I must agree that last year was an amazing year. Alhamdulillah, we thank the Almighty for that. But again, there were episodes that were just amazing, that they were just, they stood out among us all the other episodes. That's what we're doing tonight. We're just easy trying to look back and reflect. They say where you came from and where you are tells a lot about where you're heading. So that's why we're taking this time tonight to review some of those videos. And this next video, this next episode is one interesting episode that we did. It's a discussion that took center stage good part of last year, you know, from the 9th March, you know, in famous handshake between His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the President of Kenya, and the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga, Building Bridges Initiative. Let's watch that episode.
I wouldn't know. I don't think it came through our proposal, but the reality. Within every county, there are people who are being marginalized. Because in every county in Kenya, there are minorities. And those minorities don't get their rightful share of the national cake. When it comes to position within the government, when it comes to elections, when it comes to development. I just want to quote, for example, Mandera, where I come from.
Yes.
And I hope Mandera people will not kill me for this because it is the truth. We have got people whom we call the riverine tribes who have been living along the river for a very long time. These are fairly poor people. But they are a minority, they are a very small population in number. The reality is that because of their number in Kenya, if you don't have the numbers, you don't have the political clout. So in terms of voting, they can never get a member of parliament. They can never get a governor, they can never get a senator. Thank God this time they have managed probably to get an MCA through. Okay? But because of their voice is so weak, they will not be able to get the share, the major share of the county division. So exactly the same thing when you go to Tana River. You have got people like the Munyoyaya, or you have got the other people who, the Boni, exactly, that's the one I was looking for. If you look at the Boni, they've been there for ages. They don't have their share of the national cake or the county cake. And still they are living in the forests. In fact, they don't even have access to education, health service, and all those things. So whoever's brought that one is an issue that needs to be tackled at the national level first. Because when you talk about inclusivity, the inclusivity starts from the national level. And then it has to go down to the county level so that everybody can be inclusive. But let's talk about the Kenyan and his right at whatever level. Whether we're looking at the national level or whether we talk at the county level.
Okay, interesting. We always talk about having a piece of the national cake. Don't you think it's time to shift the argument and look at how we can bake more cakes? Is it there enough laws regarding inclusion in the current constitution?
Faisal, you know why I'm holding this?
Please.
Listening to your question and the answer being given by my brother here. The problem is not the law. Just look at
implementation.
Just look at. I want to look at us to look at Article 56.
Okay.
An article that was not there in the old constitution. It was specifically inserted here to take care of marginalized communities and minorities.
Exactly.
That is at the national level.
Yes.
When we come to the county level, what Abdullahi is talking about, it's already in the constitution. The problem is implementation.
So why do you need the BBI report then?
That's why, okay, let me tell you, there are some good things in the BBI report.
Yes.
But the biggest recommendation in this BBI should be one thing, in my view. Can we implement what we write down? Simple.
Thank you.
The problem is implementation.
But we have sufficient laws.
That Boni guy is supposed to be taken care of at the county assembly level.
Okay.
That Kulalio guy, the person from Kulalio, those are the riverine people in Mandera. They're supposed to be taken care of there.
We have the Nubian community
The
in
Kikuyu living in Masai land is supposed to be taken care of. The constitution is very clear about marginalized communities and minorities. The problem is implementation. Even this BBI, unless we work on implementation, we can come up with beautiful recommendations. But if they're not implemented, look at the kind of violation of human rights that we have in this country. Is it because we don't have legislation? Is it because we don't have the laws? No, it is implementation. Corruption, the fight against corruption, the biggest headache that we have in this country.
Okay.
Look at the organs that we have put in place, the laws that we have in place. The problem in this country is implementation. And
wow, it was another heated discussion right here inside the studio. And my producer could not help but remind me about my dress code. You know, I just need to make this clarification. You see, that was historic. That was historic. My first time in life to put on a plain black suit and a white shirt. Plain white shirt, plain black suit. First time in life. Never ever again. But yeah, alhamdulillah, again, it was another fruitful episode where we had two giants, one Muslim leader, rather they're both Muslim leaders, but one is at the helm of one of the organizations representing the Muslims in this country, and the other one is a legal brain, an amazing legal brain that we always have a pleasure hosting inside the studio. And of course, as you've heard, one of the things that they said is that we do have sufficient laws in this country. There is another part that I don't know why my producer just decided to ignore. There's a question that I asked them. Don't they feel, because both of them, before I tell you about the question, both of them agreed that we should take in the BBI report, read, own it, and make a decision, as opposed to the other quarter, the other voices in this country who felt that this BBI report should just be dismissed once and for all. No need to even go into it, you know. But they felt we take it, we own it, and we make a decision after reading it. And I asked them this question: do they feel it's hypocritical to support and push for the adoption, embracement of the BBI, yet we have other reports that directly affect the Muslim community? We have the Sharawi report, directly affecting the Muslim community. We have the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission report, directly affecting the Muslim community. And these are reports, the recommendations in those reports have not yet been implemented. Actually, some of them have not even seen the light of day. They've not been publicized. They've not been made accessible to the public. Then why should we take this particular BBI with the much quote-unquote importance as they're putting it? But again, they said that it's good. We take it up. Suleiman, you're telling me we have that clip from...
Yeah, as and when you request, when you see whatever will be happening at the Bomas of Kenya. Very interesting point that I just want to reiterate from Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, say that every Kenyan has a right to have a say in this document so that we can have long-lasting solutions. Another is by His Excellency Ali Hassan Joho saying it cannot be possible that after every election each party goes back to the drawing board. One last tweet that I'm going to read for you is again from Honorable Musala Mudavadi. Say, let us not convert the BBI document into a political elite document. The BBI is not about sharing political positions. That is Honorable Musala Mudavadi. Funny enough, he said this, that this is not about creating positions, and here we are looking at politicization again of some of these positions. Under the divisive election chapter, we say that providing that the cabinet shall be a mix of elected members of the National Assembly and technocrats, something that this current constitution has clearly dealt with perpendicularly. Said that the cabinet shall be non-politicians, technocrats. But again, right now, we are bringing back politicians into the cabinet. What's your take on that, Professor?
There are two types of systems in the world.
Yes.
Generally, in democratic countries, you either have a parliamentary system or a presidential system.
Yeah.
Some countries may have a mixture of the two.
Yes.
But knowing Kenya, knowing Africa, knowing our state of affairs, bringing in politicians into executive positions, again, is going to bring the same problems that we had for three generations, 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah.
So I think the idea of inclusivity is being misread. The idea of inclusivity is not everybody should be included in government or everybody should hold a political position.
Yes.
We have 43, 44 tribes in Kenya.
Yes.
Okay, and 47 counties, and each individual in Kenya has the right to fight for the presidency, has the right to hold a public position, has the right to be employed in the civil service. So long as there is a system of fair recruitment, fair elections, fair, you get your right share. You will not mind about being the president, who is the president, who is the prime minister, or whatever else is happening around you. What's happening in this country is because we don't have employment, because we don't have a proper business system, proper production, proper industries, because we don't have proper productive economy, all of us have become politicians. All of us, everybody's a politician. Everybody wants to be an MC, everybody wants to be an MP, everybody wants to be, every clan or every tribe wants to have the top position in the place where they are. Why? Because we don't have a productive economy. We don't have people engaged in employment which is productive, who can take care of their families, who can take care of themselves, who are busy with minding their own business. 50 million of us are all looking at political positions and civil service positions. That's the reason why we have lack of inclusivity. It's not because of the prime minister.
So the issue here is economic.
The issue is economic, but what we are being given is a political solution
to an
economic problem.
Yeah. What's your thought on bringing in politicians back into the executive?
I think that part is completely confusing us because it's depart from the current constitution that we have of the separation of powers. The current constitution, we have the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. Now it brings, the legislature that will run as a legislature at the same time as an executive that will give at least a bit of conviction that does not depart, depart from the point we had of different separation of powers. The executive components of the president, the cabinet, and his permanent secretary that will handle different functions, but accountable to the legislatures. But now that we have these things, as Professor said, now that we are trying to solve an economic problem to a political solution that we are finding. But again, it's also helped one way or other to people like us who came from Northern Eastern, at least to get into to elevate that position of the head of the government. What does it talk about, head of government business?
Yes.
Like the prime minister. We will also endeavor to have such position like one time in this country. Now, at least give us that kind of opportunity, political opportunity. Though it's an economic problem to solve political opportunity, but still,
I'm yet to get you a clear position on involving politicians back into the executive, because this is something that we dealt with, and in the current constitution, in light of the formation of the current constitution, it was seen that politicians will politic every other time and give actually very few attention to the current work that's supposed to be done at the executive.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It conveys us from the separation of powers, but also it helps the people, at least, right now we have, several times we have seen, what we witness is a member of a cabinet that has been summoned by the parliament does not appear, that does always, reject summons. Right now we have, like Minister for the Cabinet Secretary of Transport,
yes,
has been summoned 3 times in Parliament, but he has rejected.
So your
right now that
is
we have a minister that's coming from Parliament,
it will be difficult for him to evade the summons.
Evade the summons.
Okay.
He will be accountable to his colleagues in the
So you
Parliament.
support bringing in the politicians back into the executive?
Yes, I support it, but they could have departed from the completely, say, into the parliamentary system of government. Now, right now, we have a technocrat and then a team coming from, a parliament.
But in this, they're bringing in a mix of the two. They're integrating the parliamentary system and the presidential system. In this.
Why should you integrate this thing? We either depart from a presidential system to a parliamentary system, or we have our normal,
I think we should be asking you, why would they do that? Because you came out at a press conference yesterday supporting the BPI report.
The PPI,
We should be asking
the BPI,
Let me just add one thing. I think generally he supports, but what we are seeing is there are certain areas where areas which are not.
Yes.
For
instance, okay. If you want to eat cake, you should just eat the cake. You see, if you want to become if you want a parliamentary system, you go for parliamentary system. The problem with our politicians is they want to hold power. They want to hold it. They don't want to give it out. They don't want to devolve it as it was intended by the constitution. The constitution of Kenya has a lot of provisions. For instance, even the one they were telling us that commissioners of constitutional commissions should serve part-time. It is there. I'm just giving you an example. It is there in the constitution itself. If you read it, it is there. Commissioners can serve part-time. You understand? So it is already there.
It's a provision.
Its provision is already there in the constitution. So you don't.
But again, now they want to make it mandatory, not just a provision that it's optional. They want to make it mandatory in this.
It's not actually optional.
Am I right?
When the constitution says something, it cannot be optional. It is not optional in the constitution.
The same way this
let me come to this.
The same way this gives the president the option of selecting cabinet members from the parliament. It's an option.
Which creates worse confusion than there is now.
His Excellency Gideon Mike Mbuvi is on the mic at the Bomas of Kenya, and my directors would...
Times we had to refill glasses of water on that particular episode. Wacha tu. Ni Mungu tu ndo anajua. Tuachie hapo. It was not a live real talk, though it was on the BBI, but again, it was one interesting discussion we had. Anyway, without further ado, let's move into census. We had the former senator, actually the first senator of Mandera County, Honorable Bill Okero, when we were talking about the census results. Let's watch it. Former Mandera Senator, actually the first Mandera Senator, Honorable Bill Okero. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Karibu sana mheshimiwa.
Asante.
We are so happy to have you, and thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you.
Right into it. Do you believe in the figures? 47,564,296.
No, I don't.
Why not?
Well, I think I have questions regarding integrity of that of the data processing by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. And so I don't. I think looking at the data more critically, you'll find inconsistencies. You'll find clearly that there was an attempt to try and doctor that data to favor, increase, if you will, some areas, numbers in some areas, or reduce numbers in certain areas. So I think that's why I don't think, or that's why I don't have confidence in the data.
Why would you say there were attempts to doctor? Is it something substantiated? Is it something that's proven?
No, it's proven. You'll prove it in courts, of course. But I think the Let's look at it generally. Before the census figures started, government has been doing projections, including even the United Nations. In fact, the UN projections were that the population in Kenya would be around over 52 million. Even the government's own projections were around 50 million. And so the reason why, so you find the figures are, of course, well below that, but that's not the reason. The reason is you'll find a situation where in some areas the population figures have reduced substantially. In others, they have increased also substantially. So it doesn't really make sense. I think census has a process that is established globally by the UN guidelines on how to do census, and I think that is critical. The way that census is done, this government. When you look at the report that was published last week and given to the president by Kenya National Bureau of Standards, they said everything was perfect. Absolutely. If you read that report, they said they haven't had any problem. Everything was great. And they focused on, especially when you look at the quality control aspect on that report, they focused on the field work, on the transmission of the data, on the data collection, and so forth. But they have nowhere in their report have they talked about the data processing itself, the integrity of data processing, the transparency around that. And that is where the key area is. Because what happened for the first time, this year, for the first time, when the data is being collected by enumerators at home, and they upload that data to servers, which are kept off-site here in Nairobi, then the process was being done, everything was being done at the servers here. Yeah. And given the historical problems in this country regarding integrity in every aspect, including the elections, what happened in the IEBC servers. There's nothing that we cannot manipulate. There's nothing that we cannot doctor. And so when you start getting figures which don't make sense, your population this year is so much, the next year it is gone down. The next day your figures, and I am going to go into details of that later, but I think it's clear that there are discrepancies, that things don't.
Exactly what we saw in 2009. Of course, again, Muslim leaders came out to challenge the results that were produced by the government, of course, after conducting census. In 2019, again, the numbers, they say, don't make sense, and they're going to challenge it. Without further ado, there is this topic that actually stood out in 2019, and we had to do it twice. We did 2 episodes, but again, let's watch one of those episodes. Political radicalization. Wow. Thank you so much, Suleiman Nachas of Tumbo. They say age is nothing but a number. So despite the young age of building resilience against violence extremism, a movement that started in 2015 of December and started operating in March of 2016. Karibu Sana, 3 years into the game. And we've spoken of some of the ways that the government are combating radicalization and extremism, and we've said that they are counterproductive. So what have you done as a movement combating the same thing? What have you done? Have you approached the government and suggested alternative ways? Yeah. I know you mentioned one of the things about that's going to be approved by the clerics, right? Yeah. Validated, rather.
That's right.
Validated by the clerics tomorrow. So we'd like to know the content. What are some of the things that you have been doing since 2016 in advising the government on some of the ways that they are using, which are counterproductive? Because I agree with you that this enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings, if anything, then they convert people to be more radicalized and more extremists than before. And actually, people revolt in numbers. Yeah. So what have you done as a movement?
So other than the awareness creation, having robust counter narratives, counter messages, and of course, starting a process of engaging scholars at every level and communities, what we've done and what we are doing now, and this is new, Faisal, is we have a program, actually 2 programs that we call Deprive. Deprive stands for diminishing the prevalence of violent extremism. And here
diminishing prevalence of violent extremism.
Yeah, this is a project within Brave that is going to, it has already started, and what we are doing is we have this whole concept of deep dialogue. So it's not just dialogue, but it's deep. We within communities, we try and talk, or rather we talk to mothers, to clerics, imams, teachers, and those young people that are not violent extremists, but are showing signs to be on the path of radicalization onto violent extremism. And I've actually shown signs, the early warning signs of extremism. We talk to them directly.
For the benefit of the viewers, just before you continue, what are some of those signs, if you don't mind sharing?
So some of those signs, there are many signs that one can observe, and you can say that, you know, my child is on the path of radicalization onto violent extremism. One is, you know, the simple stuff, you know, children started speaking about violence or equating jihad to violence, and violence that is targeting innocent people or anyone. You know, the one that they are used to a lot is calling people kafir and saying that kafir should be violated. When your child starts talking in that language, then that's a red sign that you need to start watching out. Okay. The other sign is, you know, when a youth started engaging in drugs,
really,
criminality, stealing. You know, if your child starts stealing phones and, you know, engaging in drugs, start taking drugs, getting into alcoholism, that's one of the signs. And by the way, 98.9% of those who eventually joined terrorist groups have engaged in this behavior. Drug addiction, criminality, even prostitution. These are early warning signs. Don't think that those people the vast majority of people who joined Al-Shabaab, you know,
religious,
Muslims or no, they're not. No, vast majority.
Clerics.
Maybe 0.01% might be religious, but majority of them are not.
That's proven. The figures you give. Oh, quite interesting facts about. Interesting facts about those people who are joining this violence extremism group, and I don't want to talk much about that because I mean you just heard what happened early this week in Lamu again. Our condolences from the Live Real Talk crew to those who have lost their families, and poleni sana, and inshallah we shall overcome. Tuko pamoja. May Allah rest the souls of all those lives lost in eternal peace. And we are in January 2020. Off goes Dr. Abbas Gulait, the Chancellor of Ummah University, from the Kenya Red Cross Society. He has been at the helm of that organization for 18 years. Dr. Abbas Gulait from the Live Talk, myself as the presenter, Faisal Kassim, Suleiman Nachasa of Tumbo, the producer, Ibrahim Muhammad, who is the technical operator. We have Isa Esau, the technical operators, all of them, Abdurrahman Hared, Muhammad Samubura, Nasser Hassan, Muhammad Utuel, Salman Salim, the Horizon TV crew in general. We're saying Asante Sana Abbas Gulait. Let's watch that. Abbas Gulait, we were talking about how you found Red Cross with a whole 35 million Kenya shillings debt.
Sure. On January 26, 2001 is when I assumed the responsibility, and the first thing that hit me was to find that the society had this huge debt. And in 2001, this was a lot of money. In that way, 35 million was...
I can imagine. Yeah. I can imagine.
So primarily the society was basically broke. The society was insolvent. Was not able to meet its obligation. Our major donors had walked away from the society because they could not trust the society. It was equated to a leaking bucket that you put in and it never kept.
Yes.
So obviously...
And there's nothing to be shown for that.
No. No, no, no. So the challenge was, of course, to say, okay, we have a problem. Do you run away from the problem? Do I go back to my employer and say, look, I can't do this? Because when I accepted the offer, I didn't realize how indebted the society was with and challenges they were facing.
Being in the in the employership position, I think maybe you had an idea, maybe.
Yeah, and one of my predecessors, in fact, was arrested by KRA for non-compliance of paying statutory deductions, because people are being deducted their statutory contribution of their pay-as-you-earn, income tax, NSSF, NHIF, and all these things. They were being deducted cooperative, but not being remitted to the various agencies. So I guess, and the society had a very bad image, and the society was not able to basically transact. So the question was to go and try and deal head on with the problem, to talk to, number one, there was issue of the finances, the financial problem, there was an image problem, there was a staffing issue. We had many staff that we could not even let go because you could not pay them off what was rightfully theirs.
Yes.
So the question for me was three-pronged strategy. One was to work on the finances to see how we can pay this off. Two, on the image, and we needed to change it to a positive image.
Rebrand.
Yeah, to rebrand the organization. And of course, we had to go back and talk to donors and to show them that we were serious, that we were committed, we were not going to play games. We went
and they
back
can trust you with their money, of course.
We went back to our suppliers of service providers who, you know, people used to give us services, whether it was hotels, whether it was, you know, stationery for the office, or some of our projects that we undertook. People were basically known that the society will not pay, so people would ask for commission and bribes to be given to them, and then prices were inflated, everything was inflated. So my big challenge was to go back to all our suppliers and partners we worked with to say, look, I mean, first of all, we will be willing to pay. Number two, we don't have money. Number three, we know the pricing was not right. These were inflated prices, because you could go back to check the market rates and say, you know, we can work on this. So immediately, you know, in a matter of 2 to 3 months, we were able to reduce the 35 to 50% by, in fact, saying, look, I'm not willing to pay you this, I'll pay you this. If you bribe
so you
somebody,
negotiated already?
We renegotiated everything. So by the end of 2001, we had, November 2001, we had paid back this whole amount. Okay?
That's 11 months.
Yes, 11 months. We had paid back everything. We had then started working on our credibility and our image. I use an example to say sometimes disasters can be also used as an opportunity. And we used a disaster that happened in April 2001. There was a fire in a school called Chianguli in Machakos, where 69 young people lost their lives in a dormitory. What we did was then, luckily we had a good branch in Machakos, so we played a major role in working with the community and with the government at that time to address. We managed to get the bodies of the 69 dead young people, brought them to city mortuary here a day after their death. A week later, when they were now going to have a state burial, of which President Moi was the chief guest, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka was the Minister for Education, Red Cross was given a very prominent profile, and that really helped us also in trying to rebrand the organization, that we were seen to be acting, doing things at the hour of need. So since then, we have never looked back.
Amazing.
Gov Dr. Abbas Gulaid, and in comes Dr. Asha Muhammad. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Abbas Gulaid. We can never say enough thank you for all that you've done to the Kenyan community. And Dr. Asha Muhammad, karibu sana mama. We love you so much, and we'll surely give you all the support you need to make Red Cross even rise to greater heights. Congratulations on your appointment as the Kenya Red Cross Society SG. Congratulations. One thing that I learned from that episode with Dr. Abbas Gulaid, he told me and Kenyans in general, all of viewers, that he would wake up, or rather he wakes up by 4 in the morning every day. No Sunday, no Monday, no holiday. 4 a.m. is the latest he's going to be up. And just reminds me of one thing, and this is going to double up as our ticket to slumber tonight. The colder, the warmer the blanket, the colder the future. The warmer the blanket, the colder the future. Again, every morning you have a choice. Either to wake up, jump out of your bed, and go make your dreams into reality, or still keep and stay put in bed and continue dreaming. So the choice is yours. Remember, always, the warmer the blanket, the colder the future. That's one thing that I really learned during this interview. And as we have entered into a new decade, you've entered into a new Gregorian year, that is 2020. Most people right now are in the process, or rather were in the process, or rather they've already done their New Year resolutions, some of the things that they want to achieve this New Year, some of the dreams that they want to make them true this New Year. But as we are in the process of coming up with those resolutions, or rather writing down our dreams, always remember that dreams without plans will just remain to be dreams. Dreams without plans will remain to be dreams. For as much as you're dreaming, for as much as you wish to achieve, for as much as you want to see yourself there, you're writing it down. Please come up with a plan, equally write it down, your plan. And in coming up with a plan as well, factor in a couple of things. One, of course, being resources. And number two, you have to be realistic. You have to be realistic in your dreams, and you need to factor in the resources at your disposal. Will they be enough to make you realize your dream? Okay? Resources are not just things, or rather things that you have at your disposal, but even networks. Remember, we once said in one of our tickets to slumber that your network, your net worth is as good as your network. So that can also be some of your resources. But also remember that hope is not a strategy. Okay? Hope is not a strategy. And that has been our ticket to slumber. Thank you so much for keeping us company the whole of 2019. 2020, we are coming. Of course, as you request, when you request, we will be here. Tutakuwa papa hapa na wewe sako kwa bako. Kumbuka, kila siku ya Ijumaa kuanzia saa 2:30 usiku hadi saa 3:30 usiku tuwe pamoja kwenye kipindi kipendacho Live Real Talk. Nimekuwa na hodha wako mwaka mzima wa mwaka 2019. I want to bring the word Kenda. Suleiman of Tumbo. Hiyo Kenda ndeka hapi hiyo Kenda kwa sentence. Mwaka 2019, right? Yes, thank you so much. Mwaka 2019. Najua Kiswahili jamaa. Mwaka 2019 nzima nimekuwa na hodha wako kwa kipindi cha Live Real Talk. Basi tuendelee na safari pamoja ya mwaka wa 2020. Tuendelee na safari ya Live Real Talk tunapoangazia current topical issues right here, having tough, serious discussions only on Live Real Talk. I've been your host, Faisal Kassim, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Pala, ulikuwa umenikata jinga.